provide the money, and do everything we can in order to make sure the girls are recognized and appreciated by, know that they're appreciated by us and the school. You know, as a middle school, we know that our middle school does really well. And we know that they perform really well on the courts. Personally, I know I've seen them for the past few years, that volleyball has done great, with the 7th and 8th graders. But we just gotta see that transition over to the high schools. And we've been seeing that. And we know that they're there to participate, but they need some more support, not just from us, not just from the school, but from the district as well. And that's what we're here to let everybody know. I gotta say, I keep saying I only because I asked earlier, I go, how many years did the school be here? 11 years. That means we've been part of it for 9 years already. Because I've had three daughters go through the school already. So during that time, there has not been a whole lot of addition to it. There has not been a whole lot of changes to it. For some reason or another, we just have not had a whole lot of support, I gotta say, from the district. And that's what we're here. And that's what I want. That's what I want to be known. We need to expand high school. Everybody thinks that we're a small school. Granted, we're a small school, but there are also small schools throughout the state. The other YWLA schools that exist, for instance, there's one in Fort Worth who has a graduating class of 36, but they have a brand new gym. In Austin, just recently, they had a brand new gym built for them, but again, provided by the district. And again, this is the same kind of school that we're here at YWLA. So we're not out of the ordinary. I mean, we're within the realm of basically what we need. I mean, what we need is more support from the district. We need some more facilities here in town. I'm sorry, within the school. So we're asking that from the district at this point. At this point, I would like to ask a couple of students to come up. And just give some ideas as to what their thoughts are about their Talia here. I'm sorry. Come on up, just to give everybody an idea as to what athletics meant to her, and what she would like to have for athletics as well.
So, I think it's funny when I hear that we can't get new floors, a new gym, soccer, a paid cross-country coach. I think it's funny because can't seems to be the defining term when it comes to improving my school, our school. In sixth grade, I was told I can't isn't in my vocabulary. I was told that along with a pile of homework, I would have clubs, volunteer work, sports, my favorite. My name is Talia Revilla, and I'm a current senior attending the Young Women's Leadership Academy. And I've always been an athlete. My athletic career was never conventional. I grew up playing tag outside all day, since we didn't have the money to enroll me in exclusive sports. When I came to YWLA, sports were finally at the tip of my fingers. Immediately, I enrolled in every single one, and I loved it. Every single one was mine. Every single sport was dear to me in its own special way. Today, I am in every single sport available to me. Soccer, oh wait, just kidding, we don't have that. Cross country, volleyball, basketball, track. So I am a cross country runner, I'm a basketball player, I'm a volleyball player, and I'm a track and field athlete. But sometimes I don't feel that way. When I hear we can't have soccer, or we can't have wooden floors, or we can't have renovations, or we can't have a paid cross-country coach, I feel exactly the way I felt when I was little. Limited, inferior, not worthy. And I know that's exactly how each student and how each athlete here feels. Because not only can we have these things, we We deserve to have a paid cross-country coach because I know I would not want to get up at 5 in the morning every single day. We deserve to have renovations in the gym so we can actually properly practice safely. We deserve to have soccer because athletes like me deserve greater variety. We deserve all of these things, and we can have these things. You told us to prove ourselves in cross country, so we did, and we won first place. Each time an opportunity is presented to us, not only do we meet these expectations, but we exceed them. So I'll say it once again. We, and every single athlete here deserves a soccer team for greater variety, a renovated gym, one that's proper, a paid cross-country coach, and everything, because we deserve these things and we can have these things. It's about the opportunity. Thank you.
Myself, I'm YWLA. I'm a senior here at the Young Women's Leadership Academy, and I've been an athlete for roughly this will be my 9th year, I guess, playing sports. I started in 5th grade with volleyball. My sister played CYO, which is just a sport like for her church, and she played volleyball and basketball, and she loved it. And her coach became our middle school coach. So I decided, I actually didn't come here in middle school, like most of my fellow YWLA sisters. So that's one part that I'll talk about later. But as an athlete growing up, I was always so excited to go out on the field and just prove myself. Athletics for me has always been a release of the stress of school, sometimes from siblings, from sometimes just other things that seem to be in the way. Athletics was just my way of leaving it all out there. So when it finally came to deciding where to go to high school, I knew I wanted some place to challenge me, not only academically, but some place that also had an athletic program. But of course, being a student, I was always very dedicated to my academics, so academics always came first for me. So when it came to looking at schools, I was choosing between YWLA and Travis Early College, but Travis does not have an athletic program. And that was kind of the deciding factor for me in my choice of high school. I chose YWLA because not only did I know I would be supported very thoroughly in my academic career, but I would also have the chance to play sports, albeit not very much. But I was excited to finally start YWLA as a high school freshman, and becoming a student athlete here has been a tremendous gift to me, although sometimes it can feel, like Dalia said, a limitation. So being an athlete here has really brought out, I think, the best in me. Not only has it taught me, responsibility, but it has also taught me leadership, courage, determination, integrity, never to look down, even when things may be rough. So that's why I feel like our girls really just deserve these things here for them. Soccer, a paid cross-country coach, renovations, not only to the gym, but also to the school. So, thank you.
My name is Gabriel Morales, and my daughter started at YWLA when she was in 6th grade. She's in 9th grade now. And at first, she was like, "No, Dad, I don't want to go to YWLA. Let me go to regular school, right? I still want to be the smartest kid in the classroom. I don't want to be challenged, right?" And after a few seconds, my wife and I looked at each other and said, "We don't care. You're going to YWLA." And we went through the process. And we love YWLA because they are pushed. Their strive for excellence. We expect that from them. Like Dalia said, I almost cried to them. But they're pushed so hard, they're expected to do more than just what normal kids are supposed to do. We expect that in the classroom. I don't think that we expect that as much on the athletic side. And it's disheartening because they don't have the facilities. They don't have the right the staff. They don't have the resources. And why not? These kids, they were #1 high school in San Antonio, rated by US News in July 2019. This is awesome. I mean, we always see them in the news, on the internet. We're praising YWLA. This is awesome. They're so great. But athletics, well, not so much. And that's wrong. We're here to create a well-rounded student. You know, athletics gives a person the chance to be a leader, to overcome adversity, to have mental and physical health. You know, especially nowadays with kids, there is not enough grit, right? As soon as we come up to adversity, we stop sometimes. We need to give our kids the right attitude. They need to keep on going. We need to be, as parents, we need to be those people that help facilitate, that drive, that, and give them all the resources, just like any other student has, any other Young Men's Leadership Academy, Edison, Jefferson. They should all have the same things. My daughter right now, she's at practice, so she's not here. But she is telling me that, it's like, Dad, why are we being discriminated against? Why don't we have those same things that Jefferson has, Dad? Why don't we have those same things that Young Men's Leadership Academy has? Why don't we? I don't know, mija. I don't know. But that's what we're here for. We're here to speak up for them. And it's our job to do that. And I just want to thank y'all for being here and listening to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, building on that, that's what this meeting is all about. It's about, you know, making sure our girls get heard, that we get heard as a school, and to make sure that we are getting the things that, the basic necessities of a school. Quite honestly, when it comes to athletics, we need things. As a high school, we're in a junior high or middle school building, which kind of restricts us a lot. We do not have the facilities of a Jefferson High School or Edison High School, Highlands, Burbank, or anybody else in the district. We do not have those kind of facilities, which they hinder us when it comes to us being able to train our girls to participate in certain sports. We don't have a track. We don't have, us to be able to participate or train our girls for track and field. And I understand it in the sense that, we are, like I said, this was a middle school. And so as a middle school, you look at the other middle schools, they don't have tracks, of course. But we're a high school. And I'd say how much, at least a quarter of our students are high school students. And so if we're gonna be participating in high school, we need to have high school style or type athletic equipment, facilities, and so forth. So going on to our next point, basically, I had it broken down into short-term and long-term goals as far as the school is required. Short-term, and this is kind of personal to me, because it just came up this fall, but we had a chance to field a cross-country team. And we have done really well as a team. We won actually one event as a team, and we've had a lot of top 10 finishers within others. And of course, a lot of it wouldn't be without the coaching of Coach Spencer. Be there at 6:30 every morning, I know, because I drop off my daughters every morning. So. But I want you to know that we appreciate it, everybody appreciates it. So of course, we're asking that you get compensated by the district. You get your stipend that's required in the budget. And so that'd be great, an opportunity for her. I know there's a process. You mentioned it, Mr. Howie, that there's a process to it. But as our request that, of course, Time Point get compensated for hard work, and not just that, but for the accomplishments of the team that they have made. So I want that to be done as well. Secondly, as far as YWLA, again, this is kind of personal to me because we need a trainer for the school, a full-time trainer. I say that personally only because of the fact that my daughters, I have two daughters here, one's a senior, one's a freshman, have gone through injuries. It would have been nice to have a trainer here to help them through that process. recovery process. Not only that, we also see that the other schools are getting their own trainers as well. And this isn't a thing where, well, they're getting it, we're not gonna get it. We're not getting it. It's where it needs to be equal for our growth. I mean, quite honestly, we're living in a day where things are more, or should be more equal today than they have been in the past. And considering that this is an all-girls school, I think we need to make sure our girls are represented as far as that's concerned, and getting the, like I said, getting the things they need, and of course that includes receiving a full-time trainer. And so I would like to have that done as well. Of course, this becomes a Title IX issue, because of course, any all boys facility, all girls facility, they should be receiving the same things as well. Finally, and our Campbell's been waiting to come up here and speak, so I'm now gonna come and do it. She has a little discussion here regarding the soccer for high school.
I participated in soccer, track, and cross country during middle school, but then I always felt like I hit a dead end because I knew that after making it through soccer and cross country, that once I passed 8th grade, I wasn't going to have any soccer or cross country. Thankfully this year, we were able to have a cross country team, but our soccer team is still missing and lacking, and I really feel like I've missed out on an opportunity, and I feel like had I had the knowledge that I was going to have the opportunity to have a high school soccer team, so many more girls would have joined our team and devoted their time. And we have actually, if you look at our lovely high school soccer proposal, numbers saying that 31 girls would participate in soccer, and an additional 12 would participate in both soccer and basketball, showing that dedication to our athletics program and the reasons that we should have other facilities that would accommodate both of those sports happening at the same time are incredibly vital to this school. When I began soccer in 7th grade, I had played very briefly for approximately a year and a half when I was very little, and had pretty much no actual experience. Thanks to our lovely coaches and all of their support, I was able to grow and become a much better soccer player, and I now really wish that this program would continue so that I can continue to grow and continue to use this amazing opportunity of athletics. And I have a personal goal, which is to complete the 3-sport athlete requirement, which has always been a dream of mine, and I can't do that without soccer. And so, because I am wildly uncoordinated in hand-eye coordination, that does not work for me, ever, at all. So I can't do basketball or volleyball. And so having soccer would allow me to fulfill that 3-sport requirement, which has been a goal of mine as I saw Thalia and Jewel complete endless amounts of sports and be the fastest, the best, the strongest in our school, and I've always looked up to them for doing that. And if we had soccer as our program here, I would be able to finally accomplish that. Logistically speaking, if you refer to this amazing packet, if you don't have one, really get one. But logistically speaking, we have all of the things that we need. We have a full soccer field, we have soccer balls, we have coaches, we have a timeline, we have a whole schedule planned out. And so all we really need is assistance from the district to fund this so that we would be able to actually achieve that. We've planned out every aspect of this except for the check in the box saying that we can do it. So, with that being said, all we want is that check. So, just put little pen on the paper. I'm not actually a politician or school board member of any kind, but theoretically, one should be able to allow such an incredible school to have both an academic and athletic program. Following that, I know from experiencing 27 girls leave our grade level last year, that many of them left for sports, and the reason that they left was we did not have a soccer program. One of my friends
even left the entire district because she couldn't find a school that supported both her academic and athletic needs in our current district, which hurts not only our school because we lost an incredible student, but it also hurts our district as a whole. So having a soccer team here would have kept her here. I discussed this at length with her, and she said that had we had a soccer team here, she would have valued the academics and athletics that we would offer. So no student should have to make that decision between staying in a district that does not require them to choose between soccer or athletic programs and their academics, or leaving such an incredible opportunity. In closing, thank you guys for coming, and thank you for supporting, and thank you to all of our coaches for being here, and the school board members and athletic director. Thank you guys for hearing our voices, and we really, all we want is that check on that box. Thank you.
I'm the assistant principal. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in various years for about 5 years in different subjects as well. In that time, I also am very proud to say that I was a coach here at YWLA. I found that weird balance between tutoring and maintaining the scores and the academic rigor that is expected of our students and teachers, while also practicing 5 times a week in end games and having tutoring days, like I said. I coached basketball, volleyball, tennis, and the sport that I grew up playing, which is soccer. So before I even get into soccer, I just want to say that I experienced firsthand some of the things our coaches and students were talking about. I coached middle school volleyball where there were 70 of them in the gym with us, and we were kind of really like packed in there, and feeling bad for the varsity and JV teams who were trying to compete and have build a strong program, but were having to accommodate their 12-year-old sisters who were just learning how to serve. So not only is that not fair to our high school students, but it's also just not safe for anybody who's in the gym at the time. Because like I said, they're learning how to serve while high schoolers know how to serve and are doing their best to aim. In addition, our high school students don't get the benefit of having a home game. Something I didn't share, all of them know, but I would like for you all to know that I attended the Marangale Young Women's Leadership School in Dallas, Texas. So I wore the same uniforms they did, but my school didn't provide sports for me. So I actually had to ride the bus to travel to my home school to play soccer for the varsity team. But that's a different program that we have here. I'm glad that we provide sports for our students because they get to have the full experience here. But something that I remember feeling as a student, and I see our students feeling, and as an administrator, it's something that I continue to strive to improve, is that they want closer to a high school experience while having the challenge and the preparation to attend these tier 1 universities that the district is shooting for. And that our school, I'm proud to say, when we do list the schools that SAISD students are getting into, we are leading that charge, and we have been for years. So I understand that they want to have fun, they want homecoming, they want a mom, they want to be able to have a home game in their gym where their peers don't have to ride a bus or find transportation to attend those games to cheer for them. So I just wanted to make sure that I also stated that, because it's something that I experienced as a student, as a teacher and a coach, and now as an administrator who just wants my students to continue to have the challenge and rigor and preparation for college, while also learning all of the amazing things that they do as an athlete, all of the qualities that you gain as a student athlete. Like I said, soccer is the sport that's near and dear to my heart. I was one of the first coaches here at YWLA when we had a middle school soccer program. And I saw that I was so proud. Some of my first soccer players are right here. And I saw how much they loved it, and it brought me so much joy that they were starting to love the sport, but then they were going into high school, and it was heartbreaking to tell them that they were not going to have that same opportunity in the 9th grade. And something that our district is pushing for, Campbell said it beautifully, is enrollment, right? Like, there's this beautiful article in the Rivard Report and all of the different news outlets that was published yesterday about how we're finally stabilizing our enrollment. And our students at YWLA can choose any school that they want to attend for high school because they are who they are. and we want them to choose SAISD, and we want to be that choice for them. So it's heartbreaking when these juniors who are sitting in front of me just want to play soccer. They want to play all of the different sports that they have, but that's one that we did really well in tournament. Like, it was great. It was our first year, and we didn't. I think we pulled out some uniforms from back in the day. That was still great, you know. So anyway, I'm just going to go through the proposal really quickly, but I wanted to share that personal narrative with you as well. Like I said, an alignment between our middle school and high school programs is important. In academics, we vertically align between the science department and the math department, so that should include athletics as well. Our students are being successful in soccer, and they are joining outside leagues to kind of get that access to, but they're not able. There's something about wearing your school's name on your jersey that's different. And that's something that we want to be able to provide for them. I've already spoken about enrollment and the importance. As Campbell said, there are students who leave to play soccer at other schools, and every student matters. I think we lost less than 70 students in the change in enrollment was less than 70 between 2018 and 2019. So and we lost 20, how many students did you say? Those 27 students, thank you, my ninth grade student knows that data. Those 27 students would have been more than a fourth of that change, that percentage change, my former math students. So some of the concerns that that have come our way in regards to starting a soccer program is that we don't have enough students who are interested to sustain the program. So we gathered some data and noted that 31 of our high school students are interested in playing soccer. So 11 students, for those of you who don't know, there are 11 players on a soccer field at a time. Ideally, 18 players are on a team so that we have enough for subs in case there are injuries or grade checks or whatever it is. So 31 is a significant amount for what we want to propose as our first year. And there are 12 students who are playing basketball and at this point would like to join the soccer team after. Whether or not that happens, we're happy to say that the 31 is enough to sustain that JV team in the first year. So all the specifics for the plan are there. Like I said, we're used to kind of figuring out what we need. In our first years, we're pretty savvy and good at problem solving. So uniforms, the schedules don't overlap. We would just use the middle school uniforms in our first year. Our coaches, Coach Hernandez has agreed to help, and we do have several middle school teachers who played soccer growing up or for their colleges as well, who are willing to jump in and kind of support as we are building this program. For scheduling purposes, I would like to do what Fox Tech is doing in their first year. If they're able to do it, I think we can too. BRAC has a second JV team, so they figure out their schedule to be able to provide games for them as well. Facilities, I mean, that's something that we're talking a lot about. I'm going to leave that to the students and to the parents. But we do have a field that they would be able to play on and have home games on, which is different, unfortunately, and hopefully that changes from our our court sports. So our proposed rollout, which is up in the air, but this is just something that we put together for this year, is for this school year to have a JV team with a scrimmage-based schedule versus charter schools, private schools, and those second JV or freshman teams that are in SAISD. In the second year, we would continue to only have JV, but be part of the SAISD athletic schedule, hopefully a little bit more consistently. Then in the third year, on the paper I have JV and varsity teams fully incorporated in SAISD. I understand UIL alignment comes into play, so we'd have to be flexible with that. Something else that I was thinking about this weekend, which isn't on here, so I haven't fully developed it, but I wanted to go ahead and say it, is having 2 JV teams, kind of an A and a B. If we needed to continue, if the alignment if the 2 years didn't work out in that way, we could have 2 JV teams, because we also want to be able to sustain the JV into varsity team. So that's what's on the proposal. I know that our girls really want it, and again, I just really want to thank everyone for being here. The girls, I know y'all have homework, and you're here. Parents for being here to support your daughter. daughters always, and really Mr. Howie and Mr. Garza. We really appreciate you being here to hear their voices.
It's an item that we've been coming up over the whole course of this meeting, actually, with the need for new facilities. Talking about a gym, we of course have a gym right now. We have two gyms actually. One is used to host middle school games, and quite honestly, I've heard from a couple of middle school coaches from other teams that it's actually kind of small, and it's really hard for them to, when you have large teams, to bring them in and have them there. The other gym, of course, it's got a little jump around because it depends on how the AC is going to work or not, and whether it's actually good to use or not. But we are basically asking for either a new gym or, no, it's better to put that. We need a new gym. We need a new gym for the school. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not just this meeting regarding athletics, but we know there are other things that the school needs besides the gym. And this is our opportunity to basically let it know to Mr. Garza, Mr. Howie, that our goals and our needs for the school. We need a gym that's basically compliant so that we can host high school volleyball games, football, basketball games as well. And well, because there's two reasons for that. First of all, it gives builds up the spirit for the girls. It gives them a home team to cheer for, where they don't have, as you mentioned over there, the fact that we don't have to travel somewhere to support our team. We're home. This is our home. We come home, they need to come here, and we need to protect it. Have a attitude. So that's great. There is a financial cost. I mean, not financial cost, but as a booster, there is a financial loss for us. If we don't get to host or receive some of those costs or the revenue from admissions to games, concessions from games. Looking at it easily, we're talking about $500 a night that we're missing out. And this is money that goes back to the girls. Easily to support, provide additional games they can use. Anything that the coaches requesting, anything out there that they need or whatever. This is money that's lost because of the fact that we do not have a gym in order to host high school games. And also, like I mentioned before earlier, it would be nice to have a field and a track in order to train our high school players as well. I'm sorry, Mr. Hinojosa?
Also too, just as a parent, the other thing is we have to consider is that our daughters study till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So then to achieve this academic. So then we're asking them to survive on 3 and 4 and 5 hours as a parent. Then we're asking them to come back to school, operate to the best you can do, and then now we gotta get on a bus and go drive someplace an hour and a half, and we're appreciative that we have that. We're not saying that. But it would be nice, like other schools, to have our girls not have to get on the bus, could go do their tutoring and walk 100 yards to their gym and play like everybody else in the school district that has that ability to do that. And yet our girls go and they play with their hearts out. It's amazing, but that is a reality of YWLA. Girls operate on 4 and 5 hours of sleep, so they're already exhausted. But yet they're willing to represent their school. They care enough to put the cardinal on. And I just tell you that when I go watch them play, it's just amazing that they fight so hard. That vigor and enthusiasm they have in the classroom is the same vigor and enthusiasm they play when we play kids that play club ball all year long. And our girls don't flinch, they don't quit, they fight. And it just would be nice for once to just watch our girls walk over and rest instead of getting on the bus and travel.
I'll kind of give you all a little bit of background. I'm going to let Mr. Garza talk a little more about the facilities as more of a bond school board type issue, just for some housekeeping. How it works for new programs, I heard that we don't compensate the cross-country coach. Well, that's not an uncommon practice, and I'll give you a couple examples. Whenever we start an athletic program, a school wants to start an athletic program, we tell them the same thing every year, okay? You have to find a coach to volunteer, show us you've got numbers. You show a sustainable program, and you have numbers, the next year we will fund that program, and we'll stipend the coach. Burbank High School just went through that. They wanted to start wrestling, boys and girls wrestling. I said, all right, coach, you can start, you have to find your own, you have to volunteer for a year, see if you get kids. They went out, they recruited, they got kids. They competed 2 years ago, with a volunteer coach, no budget. They competed, now we scheduled games for them. And this past year, we funded the coach and we funded the program. That's just the process. I've been through this a lot. A lot of times you'll have 35, 40 kids show up. I gotta get a physical. I gotta practice on Saturday. I can't play basketball, and those numbers drop. I'm not saying it's gonna happen here, but I've been through this a lot, and I've seen that. You have 31 kids right now that wanna play straight soccer, that's a great number. That's a great number. And you have 11 more that wanna play basketball. Remember this, okay, and I'm all for, I've got no issue with kids participating. We've added 21 academies the last 2 years of playing athletics, over 1,600 athletic events. I'm all about kids participating. But the thing you gotta remember, you gotta have something that's gonna sustain, that's gonna last. And it sounds like your cross country's off to a good start. That's great. If it continues, next year, we'll pay the coach, and he'll have a budget to buy new uniforms. But it's gotta show that it's a sustainable program, because I've been through it a lot. A lot of these programs will fizzle out. Kids don't wanna run, or they have something they gotta go to, and those numbers tend to drop. So if we see sustainability, like we did in wrestling at Highlands and wrestling at Burbank, then we fund it the next year. It's a very simple process. Is it fair? I don't know. But the coaches knew going into this that this is how it was gonna be. There was no deception saying, well, we may or may not pay you. They knew going in, hey, this is a volunteer deal. I'm good, I love the kids, I wanna build a program, and it sounds like that's exactly what's happened, which is a good thing, This October, we're fixing to have UL snapshot, meaning we're gonna count the enrollment at this school, and we'll multiply it times 2. What's the enrollment right now, here, at the high school, 9 through 12? What's the enrollment, 9 through 12? I'm sorry? 9 through 12.
It's 205 for the high school.
I'm sorry?
205.
205, okay, so 205 girls, 9 through 12. Times 2 more than 10. Pretty good math, not great. So you'll be placed in a UIL district of that size, probably a 3A league. Okay, a 3A league. I'm not sure what schools in this area are 3A. Maybe Yoakum, I don't know, maybe there, I don't really know. But that's who you'll be competing against, okay? It won't be these big, small schools you're competing against now. So the competition is gonna get tougher.
But before that happens, does that have to be approved by the current district? Don't we play
I'm sorry.
Don't we play at the highest class?
No, the UIL's changed that.
Okay.
The UIL's changed, you will be placed, but that's how it used to be. We used to have to petition you to a lower conference, but now they're placing you in a 3A league. So this time next year, you'll be playing UIL 3A league. You'll be playing the Yoakum, you'll be playing the Wimberleys, won't be playing these home schools anymore. So it's gonna be more competitive, which is what y'all want, which I'm all for.
So even more so then, sorry to interrupt, but even more so then we should have a home base.
I don't disagree. I don't know. We've already talked about that.
I mean,
It's gonna
Yoakum.
be, you will not be able to play varsity basketball games in your gym
Right.
against a 3A school. We know that. I know that. We've talked about that. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, y'all are exactly right when it comes to facilities. There's no doubt about that. And but understand that, and I'm all for adding soccer. I mean, to me, I'm okay with that. I'm not opposed to it all, but it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to prove that it's going to have numbers. You mentioned having a JV and a varsity. That's going to be difficult. Because I'm telling you right now, and I'm being honest, I've had some experience, basketball is going to suffer. A strong soccer program is going to hurt your basketball program, and vice versa. It's very, very difficult to do both. There's an overlap of 3.5, almost 4 months. If your basketball's going to be good, it could be 3 months. I mean, it could be a good couple more weeks, so, I'm just being honest with you. It's gonna be difficult to play both. Now, some of y'all probably can, but you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night, are you kidding me? It's gonna be rough. But it can be done, but you need to know the reality, it's not done very often. We may have 1 or 2 kids in our whole district right now that play soccer at the same time. It's just too much. He's playing the same day for one thing, and he practices the same day. Right here.
Yes. Okay, so speaking of too much, you're probably not familiar then with the girls that come to school
I'm
here.
sorry.
I said then you're not familiar with them doing too much. Because they're already doing
basketball and soccer at the same time.
Because these are not typical girls. Second, what is the harm of funding the program now? And
Funding what?
any program that they want? Because either way, you're still gonna, let's say for example, you said, I can't fund a program because what if it disintegrates? Okay, so what would be the harm of funding it initially anyways? It disintegrates,
Well, I don't think y'all
you're able
requested
to,
funding for soccer right now. I didn't see that. Are you? I didn't see that proposal.
Because we were told we would put it.
I didn't see the request for funding in the proposal.
Okay, you have it now.
Okay. And
so,
I'll tell you this.
one more thing. So the 8th grade, which are now freshmen, raise your hand girls, like how great were y'all at soccer in middle school? Well, how did y'all finish in the tournament? Like, I don't know if you follow up on them and before you came to the meeting and say like, well, let me see what kind of record they were able to provide or prove their competitiveness in that.
I don't think I'm questioning that at all.
In that sport.
I'm just saying it's gonna be difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's gonna be difficult. And you just need to know that because soccer and basketball play the same day.
But I don't think that's your position to tell them that it's going to be difficult. It's
No, it is my position to tell them to be difficult. I don't want
I
them to say
think
this
your
is
role
difficult.
is just to say, I'm here for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But instead, it's a little bit of a fixed mindset. It's a little bit of a fixed mindset that you have. And you have a fixed mindset. You're not showing a positive attitude towards these girls when you say it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be challenging.
This is a quality group, no doubt about it. I just know, I've been through this a lot. I just wanna make sure y'all understand it's gonna be difficult to do both at the same time. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's gonna be difficult.
We'll give them the chance. That's all they're
I'm not
asking.
saying they can't do it, it's just gonna be tough. Because you're gonna be competing against schools that aren't doing that. Okay, hold on a second. You don't let it hear.
You said you must have like, oh, it's gonna be, you know it is academic, you don't know what it is athletically. For example, Campbell has been taking, she's been taking Spanish, she's been taking Spanish. The girls can take 2 classes as freshmen.
Yeah.
And I know that we're doing our district in SAT scores, which is, we're doing an SIAC. And we're ahead of a lot of our other high schools. But we don't
I'm not saying y'all can't do it. If anybody can, y'all can. I'm just trying to be realistic with y'all. It's gonna be different when you go UIL. I'm just trying to be honest, but it's gonna be different. Because right now, the majority of your schedule is against schools that are similar to y'all, and a lot of private schools. It's gonna be different. But I'm not saying y'all can't do it. I'm just trying to tell you what the concerns are. It's gonna be hard to sustain a strong basketball program and a strong volleyball and a strong soccer program with the amount of kids y'all have. It can be done, but it's gonna be tough.
I would just like to point out that we've already proved that girls can do 2 sports at a time. I know Aaliyah and Leah and several other girls participate in both cross country and volleyball.
Yeah, a lot of girls do. A lot of our girls.
So that's the same thing with basketball and soccer.
Yeah. A lot of our girls, a lot of girls do that. Some of our best athletes do that.
One of the things too that is real, we want them to be somewhere at a certain time, will be there early in the morning, late in the evening.
Yeah.
And on top of it, not one single girl in the school they'll play because that won't be a problem with not making the grades. They'll make the grades.
Sure.
So they won't lose out because of that. So that part's already taken care of. It's just a matter of having an opportunity to play.
Again, and maybe you're hearing, I have no issue with starting soccer at all. I have no problem with that, none. But I was just trying to make the issue understand, it's playing both at the same time, because the games are on the same day. You practice the same day. for a large portion of that season, so that's gonna be something you have to deal with, because your numbers aren't just gigantic in the school. But you'll be competing in a 3A district, a UL district.
So
That's just gotta keep that in consideration. Go ahead.
So I know you said how you're being realistic, and I understand that. I think we all understand that concept of being realistic. For example, when we think about our grades. But have you been to YWLA? Do you know a student personally? Do you
I'm
know
sorry?
any of us personally? Do you
The
know a
students?
student? Yes. Do you know
I've
any
watched
of us?
students. I know all the coaches. I've watched y'all play.
No, that's not what I'm asking, sir.
Oh, personally? No.
I'm asking us personally.
No.
Do you know what work we do? Do you know how much we do get our grades up?
Yeah.
All of us have about a high B, a high A, and I don't think most of us, I know for most of us on the varsity team, for volleyball, we're managing club, we're managing school team 5 days a week, 2 days out of the week for club, and then we also have homework on top of that every day. You do not understand the hard work we put into this school and into our sports. We want the same hard work that y'all expect from us. We want to expect the same from y'all, that y'all will fund our sports programs. And not just in volleyball, not just in soccer. We're saying in the whole program. Y'all underestimate us. That's basically what y'all are saying. You're being like, oh, it's realistic. You're not, sir. You are telling us, like, because y'all are such a small school, it's not gonna work. And because, well, have you been to YWLA as well? Their school, not even close to our scores. And I understand that they haven't gone to 12th grade, they're only at 10th grade. They do not measure up to the scores, not even in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. We are the best in San Antonio. We expect the best from the district, and I know y'all expect a lot from us because we put you up there. And I think that shows something. We need a better sports program. We need a better gym. And it's not fair. And I understand that they're saying they get it, we get it. We do get it. We need that stuff because I know there was 10 girls in the trainer's room trying to help each other. I know I hurt my ankle, Jewel hurt her ankle, Bella has knees with her sloggers. I don't know. But anybody, YWLA, they haven't been here as long as we have. We've been able to keep the program, the YWLA in general, in motion. We haven't stopped. Our scores haven't gone down. YWLA gets a full trainer, a better training room. Just what? Because they're boys? Is it because you have something against girls? It's not fair, sir. And I understand that with you. I understand that with everyone. But that's something that needs to change in this environment. We want a better sports program. We want to have pride in our school. Like Campbell said, girls left the school because they don't have certain sports programs. I know if we didn't have a
straightforward. When you get to school, we need not just the gym. We need to be in the ball. That's simple.
Well, this building it's historic, first of all. So the original building is not going to go away. It's never going to go away until this historic district goes away. But it can be renovated and it can be a really 21st century campus. But when we talk about we need to get rid of these buildings, you're going to lose votes in our community, and the bond for the whole district won't pass. So it's about we need technology. We need all the things that make it. Like Harvard has great historic buildings, but they have all of the technology and the things that you need for 21st century. So it's the building we know is old, it's historic, and we're in a historic district, so we're going to have to deal with it. But we can build a new gym, athletic gym. We can build new fine arts. We can build, but we also have to look at the whole campus. Now you have a wing that was built in the 50s. That's not historic. That could be torn down and you can build something.
It's just we have too many kids. We could be serving many more girls. The numbers of this district will go up.
Right.
Right now, I have 57 girls in robotics in a size of a room that is a third of the teachers.
I believe it.
So,
no, the demand is there. The question is, can this campus, this was designed for 700-800 max. It was designed as a middle school. The neighbors around here, Ms. McLaren hears from neighbors when there's a big event, and we hear from neighbors. So there's always gonna be a maximum capacity, even if we build another building at 2-story, because your parking is limited. And that means you're either gonna have to build a parking lot, tear out all the grass up front, or you're gonna have to take something off the field, or we're constrained with the site, but we can make this campus the best we can make, considering it was built in the 1930s.
We can only do that if we're on the bond, right? We can only do that if we get
That's
on the
gonna
bond.
take this kind of advocacy, because every school wants to be on the bond. That's $2 billion of need.
Mr. Garza, Mr. Garza.
Give you the number of that we give you.
Every kid counts, every kid counts, every student
We
counts.
work until 7, every day.
Will you be,
to give you those numbers.
I will ask, I've already committed, I'm gonna advocate that this school, in the next bond, get the facilities that it needs for high school competition in athletics. I've already committed to
We
that.
need something for everybody, not just athletics.
No, I agree.
That's what we're here. We
But
don't
tonight's
only-
meeting, I thought, was about athletics.
Sir, we have only 2 science labs
Right,
are up to code.
right.
How can that be possible?
And unfortunately, most of the science labs across our district are not up to code.
I have a question.
Across our district, so I'm elected, I have to represent the entire school district. And so, what this school has accomplished is beyond incredible, it's beyond remarkable. It has put a, gold star for SCISD. We're not taking any of that away, but we also have to do that across all of our students.
But it's disproportionate. It's disproportionate to what the school district has given us. So this school has produced, it's producing leaders for not only our city. There's people out there who have graduated, they're working, they're becoming doctors, lawyers, scientists. And I had a girl who was here, she's out in college. I have another one here who is working really hard, and she has a dream. And sometimes, we're women. We're used to being told that we can't do this, we can't have this, we can't do this, and this is what they're hearing right now. I know it. You know what I'm saying? I know that that's the vibe that's coming to them. And they're well aware. And we want to know what we can do and how we can work together, and what you all are going to do for us to be able to get to the dream, help them fulfill their dreams and what they need. And that's what we need to know. We want to know what you all can do to help us, because these are our rising stars. And we need to make it more proportionate to what they're giving the district, we're going to give to them.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to know what we're going to do together to be able to do that.
Well, first and foremost is continue what you're doing now, your activism, because again, every school will be asking for improvements, and there's not, our commitment are to all of our students, so we do have to prioritize. There's no discounting any academic success that this school has had. And then I would ask that we all have to go out and sell the bond. Collectively, we have to get this message out of the facilities that we have. A lot of folks in this neighborhood think this facility is great. They don't know, they don't have kids in the district. They don't know all the things that we know about this school. So that's gonna take us going out and telling the story, and even the story here at YWLA, why athletics is important. Because a lot of people in their mind, they just say, well, they're already great academically. Why are they making a fuss? Look at our schools. We need help academically and athletic and in fine arts. So that's the perception out there, that all of us have to get out there and advocate and tell the powerful story. Your students are leaders. They're already articulate in telling the story. We just have to get it out there.
It's just that we didn't get to start like Cass Tech with all the bells and whistles and everything like that. They
Right.
start there. We started with nothing, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And we build upon it. It's been 10 for 11th year now.
All right.
And we would like to have that same kind of push to be able to give these girls the best things
Absolutely.
they can. Our starting line was way back here, and that's just not fair.
Girls are constantly delivering.
Oh, I agree. So, we need to work together, but we also have to not pit one school against the other. That's not gonna make SCISD,
We don't ever want to pit one
anywhere.
school against the other. We are not for that. We actually want what every school can get. What I'm tired of is hearing about historical this, historical that. When I've seen historical buildings time and time again get renovated, I'm tired of hearing people talk about that we're gonna do this and we're gonna feel this is the exact thing that's happening now. You're gonna try to help us, like, I feel we're being pacified. You're gonna try to help us do something with the gym and this and that, and then it's not gonna happen, and then we're not gonna be on the bond again.
What are you asking for tonight?
We need to be on the bond. She already told you what we're asking
But
for.
individually-
She already told you what we're
Let me
asking for.
explain the process. Individually,
I hear about
Mr.
the
Howie
process,
cannot.
and then it doesn't happen. I hear you say it's gonna 26 Jefferson on every single bond, Edison on every single bond, Burbank on every single bond, and we can't get on the bond for nothing? For nothing? We just get on the bond for what everybody else gets? A fence, cameras? What is this? These girls work very hard, and I work very hard as a teacher, and you're right. I'm gonna get the story out there. I'm gonna start getting the story out there, and I'm gonna make sure I have the story straight, because I wanna know exactly how schools get funded, and I wanna know how the board members allocate for the funds, and I wanna know how board members get their jobs, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. But I'm gonna find out, I'm gonna get the story straight, and I'm gonna make sure the story gets out there. I'm gonna make sure.
Again, to answer the question, I do not decide by myself which schools get on the bond program. There are 7 elected school board members. And so we all collectively decide. Now, we get a recommendation from our staff, from our superintendent, from all of the staff that, again, are the professionals in the organization. We also have an assessment. Your principal and I and all the principals from this area heard the presentation last night at our JELC forum. All the district schools, what the needs are, how many schools have not been on a bond project in the last few years, which ones have been, how many students each school has, because again, the enrollment is a big factor, the age of the building is a big factor. So all of this information is taken into consideration, and the 7 elected officials ultimately make that decision.
Well, Mr. Garza,
7.
I hope that we can count on you to be very persuasive.
Absolutely.
When that time comes, when you meet with all your board members and the staff,
And all of us.
and I think that they will take your choice, your information, your research, and all of this information back, because I mean, you're a very important figure in the community. We know that you've been the mayor. You persuaded them to elect you for mayor. We know that you've been persuasive. They elected you for school board. So we know that you'll be there for our girls.
Yes, definitely. You have your best advocates for the young ladies, and most of them, they cornered me at one of the games, and I said yes to all of them. So it's not about just saying yes. It's really being an advocate. So we're here tonight. We're here tonight to listen, but also to help convey the support, because we know what this school has already accomplished and will continue to accomplish. But we have to do it in a way that is going to uplift the story, and the story is powerful. So there's nobody that's going to argue that. And if there is that sense of feeling left out, that is a sense that I feel when I go to campuses all across this district, because we're so far behind in our facilities. We are way behind compared to our competing neighboring school districts. So it's going to take some time to catch up, and we're going to have to tell that story to the public, because they're going to say, well, we just approved 2 bonds. Why are you coming again? I say, yeah, but we still have $2 billion. And even if we approve $2 billion, if the voters said yes, there's no way we can get all of that built in the next 4 years. You have to face it. But this is definitely, for me, a priority, and we'll continue to tell that story.
Sam.
Okay, so it's not policy to have a trial here
You know, it's a really good question. I mean, like I said, yeah, that's a great question. I think the procedure just changes, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, how it changes, I'm told to change it. That's how it changes. Change the policy. Not change it.
Or who do we need to talk to change that policy? Or procedure.
I think I get it. I mean, I guess tonight, caught me off guard a little bit, but I understand what y'all want. I see the passion, and I think you need to trust me.
So
Just
do we
trust
have
me.
soccer? Is that what you're saying? They can start soccer this
I'm
year?
saying just trust me. Give me some time. Give me some time, but just trust me. You're gonna have to trust me.
Each circuit stance is different, and so you have to handle everything a different way.
Just
Kind of
trust
like children, when you teach children, right? You teach them in different styles.
All right.
This is
Oh,
for
okay.
Mr. Garza.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry. So I know you are the representative for our school and Jefferson High School. And I know Jefferson has been on that bond for many years now. And I know based on some of the girls who play soccer for an outside league of our school, and they go to these meetings and they see you there, you talk a lot about Jefferson. You don't advocate for our school when you go talk to these other girls. And these girls we are here so we could make a better environment in San Antonio and a better city. But you're not putting us on these bonds, you're not advocating for us, and I know that from these other girls who don't even go to our schools. And I just think you need to advocate more for our school, even outside of the district and more even outside, because I know for sure Jefferson has been on those bonds and we have not been on there once.
Well, just to correct, YWLA was on previous bonds. It wasn't as large an amount, but it did get security, did get technology. It was listed in the bonds for 2016 and 2010, for sure 2010. But I'm a graduate of Jefferson. So I am biased to Jefferson, just like I'm biased to soccer because I'm a graduate. So when all of you graduate from YWLA, you're gonna be biased to YWLA, but I'm proud of every school in the San Antonio School District. The young ladies that I know attend school all across the district, and so I appreciate that observation, and I'll take it, to heart.
And I understand what you're saying by your bias towards Jefferson, but as a school board member, I don't think you can do that. You really can. No, I understand you're like, oh, it's a bias. Like, I'm gonna go root for Jefferson when they play against YWLA. But no, sir. Like, deep down, you are really gonna advocate for Jefferson more than you are for YWLA, especially because it's such a controversial subject. Especially because there's a lot of men still in this society that we live in that are biased towards women. And it's kind of like you're showing that, and I'm not saying that you are, but it's kind of like you're showing it, sir. And
I respect that.
And I've been here, 5 years? We've done more in the athletic department in 5 years than in the last 50. You can ask any coach that. Ask any coach that. We've made improvements out here at YWLA as well. And I will tell you a couple things we're doing right now. That field that y'all playing on, it's atrocious. But it's going on a field maintenance program starting sometime soon, where it's going to be a lot better. So don't think for a second I don't support what y'all are doing. I know y'all a lot smarter than I am. That's for sure. But understand this, it's my job to make sure you do understand, it's going to be different. Going in the UIL is going to be different. It's going to be tougher. And I know you guys can handle it, and I'm all for it. I'll be there supporting you, but it's going to be different.
So
when you go to the UIL, you'll be passing the classification, and and the competition is going to increase dramatically. And you don't think it's going to, just look at Fox Tech and the circles they have.
And just to give context, because I got elected to the board in 2009, right when YWLA charter was approved. It was actually approved by the board before I was elected to the school board. Mr. Guetta was around that time, and one of the things that some of the trustees at that time stated to me, which I did not know, was when this charter was approved, which was one of the first choice schools in SCISD in San Antonio, very innovative, proactive, was that there would be no sports at this campus. It was going to be strictly an academic school, so they chose a middle school, thinking in their wisdom as a school board and superintendent, but it's not going to have athletics. We don't need to build a big new high school with all of the facilities that a high school of today would require. Let's put them in a middle school because it has the capacity to grow all the way to 12th grade, but we're not going to have to invest in sports. It'll have PE and the basics, but we're not gonna have to invest in sports. And as Travis came along, the same concept, no sports. When I became a member of the board, that's when here at YWLA, the students wanted sports. And so the board said, we will support that, but be patient. This is not a building, it's not a facility to support high school sports. And this next bond opportunity, we heard last night, throughout the entire district, it's $2 billion of need in all of our schools across the district. I will advocate for YWLA to get a new gym, this next bond, but guess what? It won't be built till about 2024, 2025. So you're still gonna be 3-4 years where you will have to accommodate your schedule in any sport to be able to compete. So you just have to keep that in mind. Even if we said today we will build a new gym, it's not going to happen until first the voters approve it, and then second, the process of the bond. They're just starting construction at Jefferson from the bond that was approved in 2016. So you can see that the timeline that it takes for capital infrastructure. We're way behind. I was at Woodlawn today, Ms. Rose said it's not fair that Woodlawn, that has middle school grades, does not have a field for our football team. It's not fair that Woodlawn does not have a middle school gym for middle school kids. It's the same plea from parents or students about equity. But we said that was the academic movement of the district. And again, it was not done with bad intentions. It was done with the academics focus first and foremost. And they said, well, we're gonna have to get creative and figure out how we can accommodate the athletic programs at all of our schools. So it's not just one school that doesn't have the facilities. You can even go up to Jefferson, their parents and students say, why don't we have what Reagan has? They have 2 full soccer fields, including a football field. And all of our teams have to share one field. It's not fair. And we tell them, well, we're an older school district. We have an older building, it's a historic building. They don't have that. So there's always gonna be this competition of facilities. We have to do our best with what we have. As Mr. Howie said, as far as the sports themselves, he has a process to follow, and everybody that knows me knows I'm pro soccer, so I'm all for it. In fact, I know several of the girls because they're part of our YWLA team, so I have no problem supporting soccer here. I have no problem supporting and advocating for the building of high school ready facilities for this school. What I think I'm hearing Mr. Howie say is just giving caution, because you will be in UIL, you will have more travel those first few years. And even when you have your own facility, you're gonna be traveling to further locations. It's not gonna be just in San Antonio, so you might have to leave early from school. You're gonna have to adjust. All he's doing is giving full disclosure. I didn't hear he was against it. He's just stating, here are the, in all his wisdom of experience, he focuses only on athletics. That's his job. So as a school board member, he is our staff professional that this is his career. So we do listen to him because that's his focus, that's his expertise. And so we want to make sure before we make a decision like that board did back in 2009 when they said no athletics here, with a different athletic director, it was the wrong decision because the students demanded and the community demanded sports. But now we're in a dilemma. We have to transition to get to a place where it can work. And we do support what the students and the parents and the community want to see here. Okay.
I thank you for cautioning us, but I do think that we are aware of how difficult it is, and it would be considerably less difficult if we had funding and if we had facilities. So I think that by putting in that, if like we want to meet you halfway, but we feel like we're going all the way and there's nothing coming back. So that's why we acknowledge that yes, it's going to be difficult, and we've thought about it, and we've had 4 years worth of girls who thought about it, who really want soccer. Like this has been a thing that we have discussed as a school for many years. This is just the first time that it has been a thing that we've really pushed for, because now we've realized, okay, this is going to be difficult, but it's going to be worth it.
So you mentioned Jefferson doesn't have a gym or is out of a gym because of the construction. So are accommodations being made for them? Like, do they have home games? Because I know, for example, I look at the main volleyball schedule and you have two perfectly, Burbank and Sam Houston playing at the ACC. There's two home gyms right there not being used, and I don't understand why the ACC couldn't be a home game for the Cardinals, or or another accommodating school around in the area.
No, I think that's what, I'm sorry, that's what we'll do. I mean, we get to the point where in the UIL district, we're not gonna play varsity basketball games on a tile floor.
Good.
I mean, we're working on that now, where we can go play games. It could be the ACC, it could be at Burbank, it could be at Lanier, it could be at YWLA. They have one of the nicest gyms around. It's an old gym, but it's a nice gym. So I mean, we know that, even if you play varsity soccer,
They have nice. So, and as far as the UIL competition, I mean, if the academics wants to be competitive and be number one in the state, Miss McLaren has to find the best teachers to provide that and be able to be knowledgeable of what's required by the students, right, by the state standards of Texas. So with that being said, like, not having a paid coach, or maybe not providing them the professional, developments that they need, because they're not getting that support from the district either. How can they grow as teachers if they're having to do this on the side?
But I think all I heard was just that first year. Once it's proven, then it does get fully funded.
YWLA is doing the same exact thing.
Because and then are we setting them up for failure when we send them out to the court or out to the field and they don't have that a high standard of level of coaching, and they're going out there and getting slaughtered, and you say, see, YWLA is not competitive.
We wouldn't start a program, obviously your cross-country coach is a great cross-country coach. We wouldn't let somebody, we wouldn't let them, I mean, every place we've been, we've started a program like this. I look at Highlands, the wrestling program at Highlands and Burbank, and they've been huge successes because we've had a coach that cared. He's got a question back here, he's asking.
I was part of a parent group that we started. My kids went to Judson, and when we were the horrible parents that were trying to tear down Judson, they said we couldn't do it. You couldn't build other schools. People won't go. They won't do these things. Last year, Judson went 6A to the playoffs. Wagner went 5A, and Veterans Memorial went 4A. All we're asking is if you build it, our kids will stay.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned how the first year is tutorial trial year. So I just wanted to ask how Fox Tech was able to add a JV soccer team that was fully funded.
You're way too smart. That was a different situation, and that's a great question, and I know the answer, and I'll tell your principal the answer.
So spit it out. Tell us.
That's a good question. That's a great question. I was hoping you wouldn't ask that, because we're all coming for that. And yeah.
My question
would. The plan for Fox Tech, they already in UIL. They're going to play. They're going to try to play JV this year, and then possibly next year when they're around, they'll go to a varsity level, and they'll probably be in the same district with you all. There's a good chance you'll be playing them. They might be above you. I'm not sure what the numbers are right now. There's a good chance y'all could be in the same league. Good chance. In the same league.
My basic question is, I'm an educator myself. Teachers don't make a lot of money. We really don't. We do it because we love the kids. And the stipends that we're talking about are really not that much.
No, not much at all.
I don't understand that all of us have to work, we all work, and we all get paid for our work. Since it's such a small amount, I don't understand why they're not getting paid.
Yeah, that's Yeah,
working
okay, that's a
very-
valid question.
very, very hard, putting in lots of hours, working for, I don't want to say how much they're working for.
Well, it's a few cents on the hour. And that's a good question, and I will tell you, this is not a policy that I put in place, it was in place when I got here. We sustained it, we've had programs that popped up and didn't make it. And you look and they don't have the numbers. So that's just something they've always done. And really, I was in Midland for 8 years out there at Friday Night Lights, and we had a very similar policy out there. Just kind of like show us it's a real deal first. Because, you know, we had a big push here a couple years back for softball. You know, maybe that, I'm not coming, who knows? You know, people are shaking their head. You want to play softball?
Yes.
All right, well, we got to push the YWLA for baseball.
Even Fox Tech in the magnet program had soccer, they lost
So if you
soccer
have it,
because
they gotta
their
have it.
numbers went down, and now they want soccer back. So even at Tech, since I've been on the board, Fox Tech has had soccer, lost soccer, and now it's back. Because of the numbers, there was not that consistency.
Don't ask another hard question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Howie.
Go ahead, Coach. I'm gonna cut it, yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to cross country, they told me that they might not fund it next year because I didn't have the numbers for
Now,
two
if
teams.
it's a sustainable program, it'll be fine.
Well, I don't have the numbers for two teams yet, so that's what I was told. My question is, let's say Burbank, for instance, who only had 2 JV runners, they don't have 2 teams either. So when does their funding go away?
Well, funding is now based on per participant. So we've got a brand, and this is gonna bore you on the head, we went into a brand new funding strategy last year per participant. So they get funded by participant. They have 2 kids, they're gonna get not much money, 2 pairs of shoes and maybe a shirt. But it's based on participation numbers. And we'll be able to see at your roster reports where it's gonna be. Y'all had good numbers, I mean, you had strong, I've seen y'all wanted JVP, even tweeted that out. So, there's no concern about that.
Are there only some sports that are trial years
Or all sports?
or all sports?
Like, what was?
Well, like Fox Tech, that they got soccer this year, they're getting a funded coach.
Yeah,
So is it only some sports that
well,
don't get?
well, I mean, it depends on who tells you what to do. I guess it depends on who signs the paycheck, what it boils down to. Yeah, I think some of what I'm talking about, but the deal with Fox Tech is a different situation than that. Yes, ma'am.
Which policy is it that allows for coaches not to get paid?
Which policy? It's not a policy, it's a procedure. It was in place when I got here. It's always proved to be successful. Yes, ma'am.
So, I'm a teacher here, and, you said that you need the numbers, right, to sustain it. Shouldn't the middle school except soccer, be those numbers, like, I don't see
Well, I
why
mean,
it wouldn't be.
You know, traditionally right now, we have a retention rate from 8th grade to 9th grade of about, it's not 14. We lose a lot of kids throughout our district, so it's hard to base that on middle school numbers. And again, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier, I mean, I don't think soccer is an issue. And I'll say it again, I know you get mad at me, but the issue with y'all is gonna be competing with the 3A league and with a lot of your teams out in your focus. It's gonna be tough to be successful in those sports.
So one more question?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Garza, it's gonna be straightforward. We need a new school, we need not just the gym, we need to be in the ball. That's simple.
Well, this building it's historic, first of all, so the original building is not gonna go away. It's never gonna go away until this historic
But that
district
doesn't
goes away.
justify denying that.
But it can be renovated and it can be a really 21st century campus. But when we talk about we need to get rid of these buildings, you're gonna lose votes in our community and the bond for the whole district won't pass. So it's about we need technology, we need all the things that make it, like Harvard has great historic buildings, but they have all of the technology and the things that you need for 21st century. So it's, the building we know is old, it's historic, and we're in a historic district, so we're gonna have to do with it, but we can build a new gym, athletic gym, we can build new fine arts, we can build, but we also have to look at the whole campus. Now, you have a wing that was built in the fifties, that's not historic, that could be torn down and you
That's
could build
great.
something
It's just,
different.
we have too many kids. We could be serving many more girls. The numbers of the district will go up.
Right.
Right now, I have 57 girls in robotics in a size of a room that is a third of the teachers.
I believe it.
So, and-
No, the demand is there, the question is, can this campus, this was designed for 700-800 max, it was designed as middle school. The neighbors around here, Ms. McLaren hears from neighbors when there's a big event, and we hear from neighbors, so there's always gonna be a maximum capacity, even if we build another building at 2-story, because your parking is limited. And that means you're either gonna have to build a parking lot, tear out all the grass up front, or you're gonna have to take something off the field, or we're constrained with the site, but we can make this campus the best we can make, considering it was built in the 1930s.
We can only do that if we're on the bond, right?
Correct.
We can only do that if we
And
get
that's
on the
gonna
bond.
take this kind of advocacy, because every school wants to be on the bond. That's $2 billion of need.
Mr. Garza,
How many
Mr.
schools
Garza.
give you the number that we give you?
Every kid counts,
Teachers,
every
we
kid counts,
work,
every
sir,
student
We
counts.
work until 7, every day.
Will you be,
to give you those numbers.
I will ask, I've already committed, I'm gonna advocate that this school, on the next bond, get the facilities that it needs for high school competition in athletics. I've already committed to
We
that.
need something for everybody, not just athletics.
No, I agree.
That's what we're here. We
But
don't
tonight's
only
meeting I
need-
thought was about athletics.
We have, sir, we have only two science labs
Right,
are up to code.
right.
How can that be possible?
And unfortunately, most of the science labs across our district are not up to code.
I have a question.
Across our district, so I'm elected, I have to represent the entire school district. And so, what this school has accomplished is beyond incredible, it's beyond remarkable. It has put a, gold star for SCISD. We're not taking any of that away, but we also have to do that across all of our students.
But it's disproportionate. It's disproportionate to what the school district has given us. So this school has produced, it's producing leaders for not only our city, there's people out there who have graduated, they're working, they're becoming doctors, lawyers, scientists. And I had a girl who was here, she's out in college. I have another one here who is working really hard, and she has a dream. And sometimes, we're women. We're used to being told that we can't do this, we can't have this, we can't do this, and this is what they're hearing right now. I know it. You know what I'm saying? I know that that's the vibe that's coming to them. And they're well aware. And we want to know what we can do and how we can work together, and what you all are going to do for us to be able to get to the dream, help them fulfill their dreams and what they need. And that's what we need to know. We want to know what you all can do to help us, because these are our rising stars. And we need to make it more proportionate to what they're giving the district, we're going to give to them.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to know what we're going to do together to be able to do that.
Well, first and foremost is continue what you're doing now, your activism, because again, every school will be asking for improvements. And there's not, our commitment are to all of our students, so we do have to prioritize. There's no discounting any of the academic success that this school has had. And then I would ask, then we all have to go out and sell the bond. Collectively, we have to get this message out of the facilities that we have. A lot of folks in this neighborhood think that this facility is great. They don't know, they don't have kids in the district. They don't know all the things that we know about this school. So that's gonna take us going out and telling the story, and even the story here at YWLA, why athletics is important. Because a lot of people in their mind, they just say, well, they're already great academically. Why are they making a fuss? Look at our schools. We need help academically and athletics and in fine arts. So that's the perception out there, that all of us have to get out there and advocate and tell the powerful story. Your students are leaders. They're already articulate and telling the story. We just have to get it out there.
It's just that we didn't get to start like Cass Tech with all the bells and whistles and everything like that. They
Right.
start there. We started with nothing, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And we build upon that. It's been 10 for 11th year now.
All right.
And we would like to have that same kind of push to be able to give these girls the best things they
Absolutely.
can. Our starting line was way back here, you know, and that's just not fair.
Girls are constantly delivering.
Oh, I agree. So, you know, we need to work together, but we also have to not pit one school against the other. That's not gonna make SCISD,
We don't ever wanna
you
pit
know,
one
anyway.
school against the
Right.
other. We are not for that. We actually want what every student can get. What I'm tired of is hearing about historical this, historical that. When I've seen historical buildings time and time again get renovated. I'm tired of hearing people talk about that we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and then when it comes to time, then nothing is done. I feel this is the exact thing that's happening now. You're gonna try to help us, like, I feel we're being pacified. You're gonna try to help us do something with the gym and this and that, and then it's not gonna happen, and then we're not gonna be on the bond again.
What are you asking for tonight?
We need to be on the bond. She already told you what we're asking
But
for. She
individually,
already told you what we're
let me
asking for.
explain the process. Individually,
I hear about the
Mr. Howie
process,
cannot,
and then it doesn't happen. I hear you say it's gonna, 26 Jefferson on every single bond, Edison on every single bond, Burbank on every single bond, and we can't get on the bond for nothing? For nothing, we just get on the bond for what everybody else gets, a fence, cameras? What is this? These schools work very hard, and I work very hard as a teacher, and you're right. I'm gonna get the story out there. I'm gonna start getting the story out there, and I'm gonna make sure I have the story straight, because I wanna know exactly how schools get funded, and I wanna know how the board members allocate for the funds, and I wanna know how board members get their jobs, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. But I'm gonna find out, I'm gonna get the story straight, and I'm gonna make sure the story gets out there. I'm gonna make sure.
so again, to answer the question, I do not decide by myself which schools get on the bond program. There are 7 elected school board members. And so we all collectively decide. Now, we get a recommendation from our staff, from our superintendent, from all of the staff that, again, are the professionals in the organization. We also have an assessment. Your principal and I and all the principals from this area heard the presentation last night at our JELC forum. All the District 7 schools, what the needs are, how many schools have not been on a bond project in the last few years, which ones have been, how many students each school has. Because again, the enrollment is a big factor. The age of the building is a big factor. So all of this information is taken into consideration, and the 7 elected officials ultimately make that decision.
Well, Mr. Garza,
7.
I hope that we can count on you to be very persuasive.
Absolutely.
When that time comes, when you meet with all your board members and the staff.
And all of us.
And I think that they will take your choice, your information, your research, and all of this information back, because, I mean, you're a very important figure in the community. We know that you've been the mayor. You persuaded them to elect you for mayor. We know that you've been persuasive. They elected you for school board. So we know that you'll be there for our girls.
Yes, definitely. You have your best advocates are the young ladies, and most of them, they cornered me at one of the games, and I said yes to all of them. So it's not about just saying yes. It's really being an advocate. So we're here tonight. We're here tonight to listen, but also to help convey the support, because we know what this school has already accomplished and will continue to accomplish. But we have to do it in a way that is going to uplift the story, and the story is powerful. So there's nobody that's going to argue that. And if there is that sense of feeling left out, that is a sense that I feel when I go to campuses all across this district, because we're so far behind in our facilities. We are way behind compared to our competing neighboring school districts. So it's going to take some time to catch up, and we're going to have to tell that story to the public, because they're going to say, well, we just approved 2 bonds. Why are you coming again? I say, yeah, but we still have $2 billion. And even if we approve $2 billion, if the voters said yes, there's no way we can get all of that built in the next 4 years. You have to phase it. But this is definitely, for me, a priority, and we'll continue to tell that story.
Sam.
Okay, so it's not policy to
good question. I mean, like I said, yeah, that's a great question. I think the procedure just changes, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, how it changes, is I'm told to change it. That's how it changes. Change policy. Not change it.
Or who do we need to talk to change that policy? Or
I
procedure.
think I get it. I mean, I guess it's tonight, a little, caught me off guard a little bit, but I understand what y'all want. I see the passion. And I think you just need to trust me.
So
Just
do we
trust
have
me.
soccer? Is that what you're saying? They can start soccer this
I'm
year?
saying just trust me. Give me some time. Give me some time, but just trust me. You're gonna have to trust me.
Each circumstance is different, and so you have to handle everything differently.
Just
Kind of
trust
like children, when you teach children, right? You teach them in different styles.
Right?
This is
Oh,
for
okay,
Mr. Garza.
okay, good.
Yeah, sorry. So I know you are the representative for our school and Jefferson High School. And I know Jefferson has been on that bond for many years now. And I know based on some of the girls who play soccer for an outside league of our school, and they go to these meetings and they see you there, you talk a lot about Jefferson. You don't advocate for our school when you go talk to these other girls. And these girls we are here so we could make a better environment in San Antonio and a better city. But you're not putting us on these bonds, you're not advocating for us, and I know that from these other girls who don't even go to our schools. And I just think you need to advocate more for our school, even outside of the district and more even outside, because I know for sure Jefferson has been on those bonds and we have not been on there once.
Well, just to correct, YWLA was on previous bonds. It wasn't as large an amount, but it did get security, did get technology. It was listed in the bonds for 2016 and 2010, for sure 2010. But I'm a graduate of Jefferson. So I am biased to Jefferson, just like I'm biased to soccer because I'm a graduate. So when all of you graduate from YWLA, you're gonna be biased to YWLA, but I'm proud of every school in the San Antonio School District. The young ladies that I know attend schools all across the district. And so I appreciate that observation and I'll take it, to heart.
And I understand what you're saying by your bias towards Jefferson, but as a school board member, I don't think you can do that. You really can. No, I understand you're like, oh, it's a bias. Like, I'm gonna go root for Jefferson when they play against YWLA. But no, sir, deep down, you are really gonna advocate for Jefferson more than you are for YWLA. Especially because it's such a controversial subject, especially because there's a lot of men still in this society that we live in that are biased towards women. And it's kind of like you're showing that, and I'm not saying that you are, but it's kind of like you're showing it, sir. And
I respect that. Thank you.
Regarding time, just real quick, I saw two more hands earlier. We'll do those last two and then call it dead. She had a question. You go first, man.
I know you said like everybody's asking, every school is asking for to be on, but and yeah, probably every school has the same, bad facility, but we don't make excuses. We still talk in San Antonio. So I think this is what we deserve. We don't make excuses, so why are they making excuses for their sports or their breaks? So I'm just asking what I think we deserve.
Last question.
So going back to time, Mr. Howie, how you explain how
Going back to what?
To time, giving you time for the soccer, when the girls are asking to give you time if we can start the soccer team this year.
I want to get dinner.
So,
No, I'm just joking. I can't make that decision tonight. I mean,
right,
obviously.
and that's understandable. So my question to you is, my daughter just finished 7th grade, her first year in volleyball. They went undefeated, the 7th grade team. I'm biased to soccer because my daughter loves volleyball. So my question is, the homecoming's coming up, and since we don't have a home gym, wouldn't it be nice for the girls to have their homecoming at the ACC?
Homecoming is
big enough?
volleyball?
Yes, volleyball. So we don't have a gym
Actually, all
to
sports.
play, so I don't understand. My question is, how come we're not on the schedules for ACC, but Burbank is, Sam Houston, Lanier, and they have their own gym, but we don't have our own gym, but we don't have a volleyball varsity scheduled game at ACC. So why are we not on that
You know, I
schedule?
don't make those, I can find out. I know why the schools play, you know, right now, we're working with Domino Heights also, because they're under bond construction, so they're using one of our gyms. Actually, they're using Lanier as a home site for all their games. But they try to play, you know, even like Edison's gym doesn't have.
Cause it's too packed, because I know when, I go to a Burbank game, Burbank fills up the whole stand. So if we even play, YWLA goes there next Friday, we're gonna go, and I'm sure it's gonna be super packed. So it'd be nice to have our homecoming game at ACC where there's plenty of room for us to have the support and have the spirit of our
And that's
girls.
something we can, and that's something we can, I mean, I look at the schedule, see what's going on. I mean, that's
Thank you, I
certainly not a
appreciate
reason.
that.
No.
I'd be very, very grateful for that.
That's not a reason at all. No, not at all.
Thank you.
But I was gonna say, in regards to time, you know, I mean, this is a decision, I can't say, yeah, let's start it, but it looks to me at your proposal, this first year is pretty much on y'all. It sounds like to me. Look at your proposal, I mean, you're gonna provide the coach, you're gonna.
That was in response to us not being allocated.
I'm sorry?
This proposal was in response to us not being allocated and supported to start a soccer program.
Yeah.
So if we had more support, we would love to take this to the next level. This was just our problem solving as an administrative team.
Maybe
to be
not
able to
have to
provide
share,
something for
not have
our-
to share jerseys.
For our girls, yes.
Mhm.
So do y'all wanna modify the proposal?
Oh, I will. I will
I know,
absolutely
there's
put a
nothing,
budget
dollar
together.
sign, that's how we get it. No, but again, you know, again, this is something I have to, I mean, as a decision I don't make by myself. I talk with my superiors, and I gotta run by the superintendent, and, cause it does cost money to start a program, and as you all know, and it costs, you know, roughly soccer, I think the recurring budgets, of course, our budget's now on a per player, percentage, you know, you're looking at about, the recurring budget every year, about $13,000-14,000. And then to start up a soccer program, to buy the uniforms and soccer balls and things of that nature, probably another $25,000. So it's not a cheap, it's not cheap.
But they're not cheap for the jersey, the body equipment, the shoes and stuff like that, when they want to do with the girls. You know, we also have a budget ourselves, and some of us, I'm an educator, but I'm in the Catholic system, so I don't get paid.
And I used to be in public school, but I decided to go to Catholic education to provide my personal kids the opportunity to have a higher education than their parents had.
Sure.
And of course, our ancestors. So when my daughter got into sixth grade, I was so proud, you know, saying that she was gonna be in a facility that was up to date and up to code versus to my school, which I love and dearly love, a private school. But when we're in the same situation, and you're public funded, there's no excuse. But as far as that, as parents, I'm sure all of us agree, athletic or non-athletic, we also have to struggle in buying supplies for our students, for our children.
Well,
Don't
you know-
worry about the UIL, because I'm also, I go out scholarships in soccer and tennis myself, and I am biased. In a sense, I went to UTSA, but there's equality there. But leave that structure to us parents to encourage our girls to play soccer and basketball, two sports together. That's our job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Because
I'm saying that for
we're
me.
never gonna go to the
Yeah,
future.
and I agree.
Hire more
And-
schools that are gonna be built. I live in the north side, and there's schools being built left and right. So let's see where we can put YWLA, and let's make YWLA shine even more brighter than it is today. So just leave that to us.
And let me say one last thing, and I'll shut up. And I hope you understand, I'm here like as an athletic person. You know, and when I say it's gonna be tough, I mean, it's gonna be tough, yeah, but it's gonna be tough competitively, it's gonna be tough against the schools you're playing. It's gonna be tough. And that's what, and you need to know that. And I know you're okay with that, y'all may clean house, I hope you do.
That's what the girls
But I'm
want.
just saying from an athletic standpoint.
The girls would say, bring it.
I think your last question, right there.
I just have a question for Mr. Garza, and it's just, after hearing us out tonight, how are you gonna advocate for us? And how is this gonna be different than any other bond that we've in place for security or paint?
But the process, what's gonna happen next is we're basically taking public input for the next next several months, we're gonna be seeking input from campuses all across the district. So this is the first one I've been to that has advocated for priority placement on this bond. I think there were 40, we're grouped with 43 schools that were placed at a high priority already by our staff, along with, there were 3 or 4 different categories that they identified. And so we're now gonna take that list and start getting the information. I'm gonna present what I've heard here, what your principal and your campus have shared in terms of facilities and the needs and the challenges of being in this campus historically, as well as the size of the campus, and prioritize the concerns that have been voiced here tonight. And we're gonna make those the priority. And so as the advocate, I'll say, we need to make this the priority. We need to add this to the bond program for the next election, which is, we're looking at November of 2020 is the next election. So again, keep in mind, even if we get it on that list, even if the voters approve it, it's going to take about 4 years before you see something finally finished or complete. 4 to 5 years is the time frame for completing the bond program. So don't think it's gonna happen just overnight. It will be, there is a process, and this is the first step, taking that advocacy and then letting me go out and advocate to the next level.
Okay.
Follow up? And making the decision, the majority of our school board are women. So we're gonna have a balanced, healthy conversation, and I can tell you that everyone on that school board wants to make the right decision. We know that even sometimes that right decision is not what everybody wants or everybody wishes for. We can only make the best decision based on resources and information that we have at that particular time. But this was a great opportunity to hear from you and hear the passion, hear the pride that you have here at YWLA. We're going to carry that forward.
So the next board meeting is set for October 14th with a whole panel. The whole school board members, will they be in attendance so that our voices can be heard throughout all of them as well?
We meet twice a month. This item is not on the agenda. We just heard the last meeting in September, we were presented the assessment for the entire district. So what I advocated, because my statement was, well, this is a master plan, but where's the public input? And I used YWLA as an example. I said, you've identified these as the priorities for YWLA. I've heard something totally different going out to the community. So again, that first step was just the district stating, this is what we saw, board, this is the price tag. And at the board level, we said, wait a minute, time out. There's no public input. There's no validity to what you have presented here. So let's take this out, hear from the community, and then develop the priority list for 2020, probably another one in 2024, 2025, and it just continues until we can, and we have so many buildings, this is never gonna end. It's gonna always, after 10, 15 years, you need to refresh again. The technology is gonna be outdated. It's a constant evolution. Now, we're a school district, we're right at about 48,000, and the superintendent gave us the information. We finally stabilized our enrollment, but we have the same number of schools that we had when we were 65,000 students. So think about that for a moment. We have the same number of campuses that we did 20 years ago when we had 65,000 students, the same number of buildings, 15,000 fewer students. Think about the maintenance cost each year to take care of those facilities, and we have a lot of empty buildings. But the second we bring up closing a school, consolidating a school, we hear that it's unfair, it's not our fault, it's y'all's fault, and all the blame, and nobody wants to make it more efficient. So guess what? We start getting way behind in our chiller ACs. We get way behind in renovating older buildings. We get way behind because we don't want to make the hard decision of having to close a school because we've lost 15,000 students. So our strategy is, well, let's win them back. Let's win them back with programs like YWLA, like Travis, like International Baccalaureate, like dual language. And we finally slowed down the decline. Now we have to win them back so that we can be at 55, 60,000 students again. Because then with that revenue, you can maintain the buildings. It's just like if you had a big house, maybe you had 5 kids, They all left for college. You still have to air condition the house, clean the house, maintain the house. Would you stay in that house? No, you downsize. Well, we've not downsized as a school district. We're still maintaining 100 campuses with so many fewer students. So that's what makes his job harder when it comes to funding. That's when it makes our facilities and maintenance job harder when it comes to making sure we update our HVAC systems and all of our equipment. It makes technology harder because we have to provide more technology at all these campuses. That's the kind of input we need before we approve that master plan. Is the master plan 2030, is it to design for 48,000 students? Because where are you gonna be in 2030, young ladies?
Well, there are others behind us. You have little girls sitting at YWLA primary who are already wanting to come over here. We have to speak for them.
So
as
do
well.
we design for 50,000 students? Do we design for 75,000 students, our peak? We're gonna approve a plan through 2030. That's what we're gonna ask the community. What do we design for? 48,000, our current enrollment, 55,000 where we were 10 years ago, or 65,000 where we were when we built all these schools.
Well, I guess the question is, what is our goal? Who do we want to service? Then you can come back and say, okay, what is my end point? Now I need to come back and say, okay, how am I gonna get there? So if I want to have a district that is competitive with Northside, okay, well, do I want to do that with numbers or with quality, quantity or quality?
That's what we need to hear. If it's
So-
quality, then let's design for 55,000 students or 50,000. But then the question we'll ask the community is, should we still keep 100 campuses for 55,000 students? If not, which schools do we close?
Our job is to advocate for this school. That's what we want to do. We want to advocate for this school and for the little girls that are coming up behind our girls, you know, because they're going to give back to them. We know that they already still do. And that's what our job is.
Good. And my
That's
job
what we
is
want you to do.
to not only represent that, but to look at the big picture. Because we're gonna be the ones, 2030, to say, why did that board design for 70,000 when we're now at 30,000?
I saw the power of that at Bonham, when Bonham, also a historical building, wanted to have a theater program that went beyond what it did. And I don't know how many years back they were on the bond, but I suspect it wasn't that far back for them to get their black box, for them to get all the things, because that was important to them. That they have people in their community, you know, who are very strong advocates for that school. And it seems like that, it's not just a matter of, you know, everybody gets equitable and everybody goes around. It's how you advocate and making the decisions to do this. And if people are empowered and people have their people that they know, then that's where the money gets allocated. You know, and you know, a lot of our girls, we come from all across San Antonio. You know, so where it's not gonna be so concentrated like that, you know? And so we need voices like your own who are gonna advocate strongly and persistently for our school because we deserve it.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, everybody, for your participation, and
Thank you.
Garza.
Thank you all.